This season of the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast is proudly supported by Tanara Music Practice Platform.
Welcome to the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast, the place where teachers from around the world meet to share innovative ideas about music education. Listen and learn as we help you motivate your students, grow your income, expand your studio, and become a more creative piano teacher.
Well, hello everyone. This is a little bonus episode I thought I'd throw in before Christmas as a little gift to you. We have a little, really short episode today with one of the speakers who will be joining me at Piano Pivot Live in January and hopefully joining you as well. It is Philip Johnston, whose books you may well know, The Dynamic Studio, The Practice Revolution. His books have revolutionized the way I have taught music when I read them maybe 10 years ago. And I'm so excited that he will be joining us as one of our keynote speakers at Piano Pivot Live in January. So if you've enjoyed his books and would like to meet him, hang out with him, be able to sit at a table with him and ask him questions about what he does, how he comes up with his ideas and about his books, then make sure you get your ticket to Piano Pivot Live. And if you can't be there, then remember that you can also grab a virtual lounge pass to our virtual tickets at pianopivotlive.com, and that will give you access to the recordings of all our keynote speakers and presentations and workshops for 1 year. So grab them as well at pianopivotlive.com. Now I'm going to hand it over to Philip for a quick summary of some ideas that he's going to be talking about when he comes to Melbourne in January for Piano Pivot Live. I'll see you there, everyone. Have a great Christmas, and thanks so much for listening.
Hello everyone, this is Philip Johnston with a sneak preview ahead of the 2020 Piano Pivot Live conference in Melbourne. The whole thing is really a contagiously irrepressible festival of ideas for piano teachers from all over the world, and is the brainchild of Tim Topham, who's invited me along as a presenter. Now, I think he's done that assuming I might talk about practicing, given my various books, but this time I'm not. Now, for those who've been to my presentations before, you know I like running thought experiments, and the $100 million studio is probably the biggest thought experiment I've ever run. Here's the premise so that you can start to think about how you might handle the challenge. You need to imagine that you've got a former student who has founded a startup of some sort that's done really well, like Google will, and they are rocketing up the Forbes rich list. And as a thank you for piano lessons that really made a difference to them, they've gifted you, their former teacher, with $100 million on the condition that you use the money to build the world's finest piano teaching studio. Now that condition's important. You can't blow the cash on helipads or installing putting greens in the shape of Beethoven. Everything you fit this studio out with has to demonstrably help you teach more effectively, which actually makes spending this blank check a little trickier than it sounds. Now that said, with $100 million in backing, you really are free to come up with any teaching resource you can imagine. So, what would you imagine? Now, answering this question is not just daydreaming. It'll tell you a lot about your teaching priorities and, more importantly, will also force you to confront some things that are missing in your current studio setup. And to help kickstart your thinking, I've actually gone ahead and designed my version of the $100 million studio, and we'll spend the first part of the session acting as your tour guide as we go for a virtual walk through the new facility with its recording studios and performance spaces and play areas and libraries and all the other cool things that music teachers can't afford. So why are we talking about this? Well, here's the thing, and the reason I've chosen this thought experiment. It's 2019 as I'm recording this. 2020 by the time the conference hits. And the obstacles to game-changing teaching resources are not actually money now. It's your tech know-how. The whole point of the presentation is that if teachers were smarter about how they use the laptops, the tablets, the internet, digital instruments, recording software that are all effectively sitting dormant in their studios like undiscovered alien artifacts, they could open up a world of insane new teaching options right now, options that in 1990 they probably would have needed $100 million for. And to prove that, in the second half of the presentation, we'll take another tour through the same $100 million studio and we'll see how to make every one of those teaching possibilities a reality by thinking laterally about technology you've already got. So if this idea has you thinking a little differently about whatever device you're using to watch this video right now, then come along to my Friday morning keynote at Piano Pivot and we'll take a look at the whole thing in a lot more detail. Don't forget too that one of the things that makes the conference so useful and unusual is that the presenters are also available throughout the day to chat to and to work with. I'll be there for roundtables, happy to talk about anything in the $100 million studio presentation or questions about any of my books or whatever you want to ask about. So if you don't have your tickets yet, get to pianopivotlive.com. Seriously do. It's going to be huge. And we'll catch up in Melbourne.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that sneaky little bonus episode to round out the year, and I didn't want to leave you without saying a couple of words of both thanks and a quick update as well. So firstly, thank you so much for listening to the podcast again in 2019. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I'm looking forward to bringing you another year of podcasts ahead in 2020. And I wanted to announce something as well, and that is that with our change of branding to topmusic.co, which you may have seen on our blog and also on social, which we're very, very excited about because it aligns so well with our passion and vision for music education moving forward. And it really shows how this whole idea I have for improving the quality of music education around the world is not just a Tim Topham affair. It is a whole team affair. There's lots of people involved, and I love connecting people and bringing the best people together to create great content for you and to support you in your teaching as we move forward in the next year. And so for that reason, the podcast is going to be changing its name, and it's going to become the Topcast. We're keeping this one very, very simple, but from next year, the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast will be no more. All your links will stay the same. The feed will update naturally, and our new show is going to be called the Topcast, the ultimate podcast for music teachers around the world. So I look forward to welcoming you to the new show, new theme song, new details, new everything in the new year. And with that, I will say farewell and thank you again. Have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and a very happy holiday season wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I'm actually taking the family over to England to see all our English relatives, which should be great fun. And I'll be back in mid-January in preparation for Piano Pivot Live. So that's the next time I'm going to see lots of you. We will be a little bit quieter here at topmusic.co over the Christmas break, between Christmas and the start of January. So enjoy your break, have some downtime, make sure you get that chance to recharge your batteries and come back refreshed, and I'll see lots of you at Piano Pivot Live. I can't wait to see lots of you then. Bye-bye, everyone.
Will conclude this evening's entertainment.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast. We'd love to help take your teaching to the next level as a member of our supportive community. Use the coupon Piano Podcast for $100 off an annual membership of Tim's Inner Circle today. To find out more, head to timtopham.com/community.